can take a look at this. We're going to do some budgeting basics, most of which most of you will know, but in case somebody doesn't know one of these things, it's going to be really important. Then I'm going to talk about how to earn money, how to spend money, which is probably maybe where most people are most focused and where we have lots of different avenues, forms, systems to manage. And then I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't share a little bit about making some good decisions. That's what we do in student development. So hopefully that's what you all came here to talk about today. So let me start. Oh, because I'm sharing the wrong one. There we go. Financial basics. There are three things I think it's really important that everybody knows. One is your activity string. So activity string is a weird word that we have chosen at SU. I don't know why, but it essentially means your account, your, if you think about it as your pot of money. And the number, which is called the activity string, tells the university when you're spending money, depositing money, what little pot of money. So it's like your budget number or your account. We call it your activity string. If you call it something different, I'll usually know what you mean, but you need to know that that's what the university calls it so that you know what we mean. So your president and financial officer should have already, and if you've not, there's a possibility some of you haven't, should have already received an email from us in the last 30 days that says, hey, insert name of group, we're so excited that you're here. Your activity string is this number. It should look like this, but the zeros will be different numbers. And here's how much money you have so far. We're going to be sending these emails once a month, but that is one place you can get that. You could also put in the chat if you really need to what it is, and we can look it up while we're answering questions. I can do that when we get to that. You don't have to do that, Melissa. Second thing you need to know is your balance. Every month you're going to get that email, but please don't rely on that as the only way you know how much money you have. And here's why. There's a lag. Our systems are slow. And so you're going to get an email from us every month and it tells us, today I looked at your activity string in Inform SU and it says you have this much money. But you might think, but wait, Michelle, we just did a deposit 2 days ago and it was a lot more than this. And I don't see that. Just seems like that's not accounted for in this balance. And probably the answer is going to be, you're going to be right. So that balance, that email every month is really just a check for you. It's like it's a checking in. You should be keeping track of your expenses. And you should also be keeping track of your budget. So you are in charge of your budget for the year. So you should be talking with your fellow officers or however your bylaws and governing documents tell you make these decisions to kind of over the course of the year. Do we have expenses? You know, Alpha Kappa Psi, we were just talking about. They have national dues that they pay. So they collect money, they know how much those dues are going to be, and they pay those. Some of you might not have ever even collected money or spent money, and you're just sort of dipping your toe in the water. But ultimately, it's up to you all to know what your budget is and what you can spend money on in that sense, and be tracking that. So those are the basics. If you got those things, you're doing great. So let's talk about how you get money, how you earn it. Is your view keeping up with my slide advancing? Yes, love this. Canva's great. How to earn money. So as I mentioned, there are some groups that collect dues or take donations from members. That does need to be in your governing documents if dues are required from members. So make sure that those are included in your bylaws and your governing documents. But you can collect those and you can deposit those right into your activity. Fundraisers. This is the way that most groups are earning money. So all of you have a club advisor, and they are a great resource to plan and implement fundraisers. And to think about what's unique about your particular organization and what's a way that would make sense for you to fundraise. And that might have to do with what your group is about, as well as how many members you have, what time commitment they have, and what talents are in the group. We can deposit those funds directly into your activity. And we also have access. We can help you take payments using Square, where you can just get a reader and people can like scan a QR code, and then those monies will go automatically into your activity. There's a little bit of a delay. It's not the next day, so you kind of have to plan. But Square is really nice because then you don't ever have to mess with like taking cash or checks or that kind of thing. The other thing, and we have Isabel secretly in the room with Marisa, is you can go through the appropriations process. So if you are primarily an undergraduate club, you can apply to SGSU. If you're primarily graduate, you can apply to GSC. And they each have their own process. They're slightly different, so I won't go into a lot of detail, but you can get information about their processes directly on their websites or by talking with myself or Marisa, but Isabel's here for SGSU. The thing I want to say about this is it's really important to plan well for a successful application. So regardless of what the process is, clubs are more successful when they come with, we have this particular purpose, we've fundraised this amount. You actually, if you have done your own fundraiser, you're more likely to get the full amount. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. And also have a budget. Like, we want $300 for a pizza party. Here's how that breaks down. Here's what we've done, to collect a little bit of money in good faith, so you're not paying for it all. They like to see that initiative. But plan well, because to get on the schedule, to put together the materials can take a little bit of time. So next, I'm going to talk about spending money, but I do want to stop here and just take any initial questions, either about the basics I talked about or how to earn money, the fundraising, collecting dues, or appropriations.
In the chat, we've gotten a couple of questions about the JE number, or not the JE number, whoops, wrong number.
Activity string.
Activity string. In the initial email that I sent out to them, I did not include their activity string, and I asked them to send me their club name, and I'm sending them their activity string now.
Oh, I swear. Okay, this is a little inside baseball, y'all. I swear I looked at that PDF that you sent me, Marisa, and I manufactured a memory because I definitely looked and saw that you had their activity string in there. I totally misread that. I'm so sorry.
The subject line was activity string, so maybe that's it, the subject line of the email, but it just didn't have the actual number. I'm
sorry. I am a big liar. So we can get you your activity string. I'm so sorry. I included it in the emails that I sent because I thought it was in the one. I was just following your format. So I made something up. So oops, sorry. Any other questions, either about earning money or some of the basics?
Yeah, I was wondering, what if our advisor already has cash and checks that were previously collected? Would we be able to like put that in the system somehow?
Oh yeah, you can definitely deposit that. You can drop it off in Center for Student Involvement. Just make sure that we know what group it's for, and we will do a deposit for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Marisa, do you want them to bring it just to the front desk or to any specific person's attention?
So bring it to the front desk. We will have a money box to put it in, but what we need is to know what club account, like not account, but like your club name. Please don't bring us a check and it be made out to like Marisa, and then Marisa's like, oh my gosh, who does this go to? I would hate for us to accidentally put the money in the wrong account. So please just bring it to the desk, and our student involvement ambassadors and team members, Cece and Lewis, will know our next steps. I have some questions in the chat. The first one was
Ashlyn, real quick, did that fully answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
when we collect dues, how do we transfer them to our SU account electronically? Or are we still limited to using a check? That was the first one.
Oh, that's a great question. Well, it's not the handiest, so you can do a check, but if you want to either borrow, you can set them up in Square, is what I'm going to say. And you could either borrow our Square reader, like this is the night we collect dues. And so you pass it around. We also can we can set up a QR code and send it to you. The only caveat with that, I will say, is that it has only happened once, but I had a QR code with Square expire, and I've not read anything in their materials that was supposed to happen. So I don't know if that is just something weird, a glitch that happened. But I just named that in case like you're passing around this QR code and then suddenly it doesn't work, you might need to get it refreshed. But that might be the most convenient way for all of you.
Yeah, that's a great solution. A question is, if our members are used to paying through Venmo and then we write it out, write the check to you guys, could we instead have the members collect through Venmo and then just one lump sum payment to that Square platform?
So what had happened was, Venmo is not an approved function of the institution. And so for the last couple of years, we've made exceptions to using it. But this can actually have tax impact on your personal accounts. And so if the government, the whole entity, sees that a large lump sum of money is coming into your account and leaving your account, it can tax you. And so now your members put in a predicament where they have to pay taxes on that money. And we're speaking from experience where that happened to a club member that had to pay $1,000 out of pocket because they were taxed. So we want to avoid putting you all in any financial hardship that can persist, like come up. So we are moving towards, we are now moving to using Square, which automatically deposits the money into your account.
Good to know. Thanks.
Yeah. I think, Josh, in your account, have you recently collected dues?
Yeah, we're in the process of that now.
Okay, because I was going to say, because you've been in this, I was like, if you are currently using Venmo, because that's what you have been doing,
Yeah.
Fine, we're moving people away, like moving people into Square, but it doesn't mean you have to suddenly halt and course correct like in the middle of this collection. I would just sort of mentally, emotionally prepare for the next time you do it, that you're going to do it differently.
We were able to be kind of grandfathered into Venmo's old groups account thing. So thankfully it's not one person's Venmo yet. So we haven't had any tax problems yet, but ideally we, since you guys have this Square platform, it's something that we'd want to move towards, but for the time being, that's what we're
You're fine.
with.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Square is just, it has a lot more utility, and it's, a number of people are using it. A number of departments are even using it. Not that I think anybody would fall into this category, but if one were to need to pay a fine for disciplinary action at University Now, you would pay it via Square. I set that up this summer. So yeah, if you're in the middle of a different collection, that's totally fine. Other questions? Oh, you're mute. Marisa, are you talking to us?
Yes, sorry. So in our chat, we have questions. How do we access the activity string? And so I'm not sure if that means like the activity string number or how to use it to like pay for things. So
we are just about to talk about that. Are there any other questions or that I should answer, or should I move to that?
There's another question. Where do we find the application for appropriation? Are we the ones filling it out, or a president or advisor? So the application for appropriations is on ConnectSU, and it has to be submitted by the financial officer for your club. And depending, there's a process to it. So as an undergraduate club, there's a timeline. So getting your hands on the financial club, what is it called? Appropriation bylaws will be important to know the timeline so you get approved in a timely manner. Then what else?
Isabel, do you have any tips for people while Marisa is checking for other questions? in terms of SGSU?
Yeah, sorry, I'm like over here. You guys can't see me, but okay. Basically, advice that I would have, everything that you could have, like all the questions that you have, they're directly in our finance bylaws in regards to the appropriations process. It kind of goes over timelines of when you need to get the requests in, what your presentation should look like, some questions that should be answered going into the presentation. Yeah, honestly, we're really open to help you all out. We're here, SGSU is here to support the clubs and help you guys put on events that will benefit our student population. So honestly, if you guys ever have any questions or if there's something that might be confusing, feel free to email the CFO of student government or myself, and I would be happy to connect you guys with the correct resources. But everything is on our website at seattleu.edu.
Thanks, Isabel. Callie, I see your question. With doing a fundraiser using Venmo, I would say if you have already planned it, you're in the process, it's happening, you don't have to stop it. Hopefully we knew about it because those are supposed to be, the office is supposed to be notified. But moving forward, we really encourage you to use Square. It's going to be just as easy, and it also will avoid the potential tax impacts, because a fundraiser is that's actually the exact situation where you're likely to get a big amount of money coming in to one person's Venmo account, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Okay, I'm going to move ahead to how to spend money, which is how you use your activity strength. So there are tons of ways to spend your money. Campus services, most businesses on campus or service providers will just charge you directly. So, like when you order catering or when you get copies made at Reprographics, you don't actually you tell them some information when you submit the order. Most offices that aren't, regular service providers that take money for things will ask you for a journal entry form. That's a form that you can find on ConnectSU, and we will fill it out. CSI, so we actually signed off on it for you, but I wanted you to make sure like you saw the form, and it transfers your funds from one activity string to another. So for example, let's say you decided that you wanted to co-program and you are going to co-sponsor with another organization. You're like, we're going to take all the expenses because we don't want to divvy these up. We're going to pay all the expenses out of this other group's activity string. You could use a journal entry to give them the $100 that you're contributing. And that's how that works. Moving down below, ProcureSU catalog. So ProcureSU is the system that we use, like staff, faculty, we all use to shop for things and process payments. There are catalogs in ProcureSU for primarily Amazon, and there's an office supply store that you can use. You do the shopping, you pick out what you want, you forward it's called the cart, like all your stuff in your electronic cart, and you forward the cart to CSI. I approve it because I'm looking to make sure you have the money in your activity, and then it gets sent. And the way that you find that is that if you go to the SeattleU website, and there's a tab up in the top that says SU resources, and you tab down, go to quick links, that's where you find all the stuff. But ProcureSU, that's the easiest way to navigate to it. If you have a vendor, so say you have a performer, Seek has a drag performer coming next month. And so one of the things that I am paying attention to is that person needs to be paid. So I will submit they will submit an invoice from the performer through ProcureSU. So again, this is ProcureSU. You'll submit your invoice to CSI, and we'll process that for you. Again, we're just making sure that you have the money. Tied to that, contracts, I use that as two examples. With the contract, please be sure that if you're hiring a performer, that needs to be reviewed and signed by a CSI staff member. No student at the institution can legally obligate the university to any financial commitment. And even though this is your money, we're holding it for you. We're like your bank. And so since we're the university's the one paying for it, technically the university needs to sign off on it, and that's to protect you, quite honestly, so that we have the institutionally, we're taking care of the risk with that. I have a few more items, but before I advance to the next slide, any questions about these particular instances?
We did
I
get
do have a,
oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I do have a question. What happens if a provider doesn't do invoices? Like if we're buying merch and the website like requires payment right then and there, they won't send you an invoice.
It's not my favorite, and I'm going to talk about that in the next thing, but that would be either a reimbursement or a pro card. So we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions?
We did get a question about buying snacks. So the question is it true that if we want to get snacks for a meeting, we have to use catering from the school as opposed to getting snacks from Costco?
I'm going to say, Marisa and Cece, stop me if I start lying. There is a food policy that I would encourage you to become familiar with. Per the food policy, if you order catering, just like food, like a plate of enchiladas, that would need to come from catering, because we want that prepared in a way that we know it's not going to make you sick. However, if you want to purchase prepackaged snacks like candy and packaged Rice Krispie treats from Costco and serve those, you can do that because they are already like self-contained units of safety and deliciousness. So you would, if you didn't want to order it from, say, Amazon's catalog, which you can order prepackaged things from them. I think actually doesn't Costco have a catalog that you can order from? I don't know how much you have to order and all of that, but that would be my first route. But you can go to what we're about to talk about, which is reimbursement or pro cards.
So Costco, you can actually order through a form online through the systems that you'll have access through on ProcureSU. You would go shopping on Costco for Business, put everything in your cart, screenshot it or save it as like a PDF, upload it into the system and fill out a form, and it'll deliver it directly to CSI. And we'll just send you an email and be like, hey, Marisa's Cool Club, you guys got a package, and it'll be here for pickup.
I want to join Marisa's Cool Club.
That is my go-to name for a club right now. The second question was, how do we access catalogs from Amazon and office supplies?
Yeah, so you will go to ProcureSU, and that's what I was alluding to when I said go to the Seattle. Here, let me see if I can. Let me stop sharing for 1 second, and then I have too many web tabs open is really the problem that I'm having today. So let me come back. Let me share. Okay. We're on the SU website. What I would do is SU resources, you're going to go to quick links. I would bookmark this page because this is just about any university system that you need, and it's too many. But what I will note here is this is how you get to ProcureSU, which I'll open in a second, and Chrome River, which I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes. So if you bookmark this, you always just know you have access to it. You can also get to ConnectSU, all those things. So you'd open ProcureSU. I think it's going to ask me to log in. Okay, good. I was like, hopefully I'm not going to have to do the whole put a number code in. So Amazon, we'll use that. It's thinking. Oh, Lord. Should open up. Basically, you just shop like, I don't know why it's got, oops, I need a lot of certificate papers. I'm going to add it to my cart. And then I can proceed to checkout. Maybe get some eyelashes on the way. This says, because I did some Seek shopping. Essentially, if I click through, it's going to forward the cart on to the person that needs to approve it. So it really is that easy. It's like shopping at Amazon. Does that help? Great.
We just saw the like this punch out is not like you didn't show the screen with the like the web page with the Amazon.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It was active for me and then not active for you. So let me go back. Let me click through to the right screen. It's getting there. Okay. So this is what opened up for me. So it just looked like this. Let's say I'm gonna get. Are you seeing the item now? Great. Okay. Add to cart. Let's say I need 2. I can't click 2. I don't know why. And then up here, proceed to checkout. And then are you seeing the order summary? If I just, if I keep clicking through just like a normal purchase, what will happen is this cart will get forwarded to Center for Student Involvement, and then it will get ordered and show up in our office for you.
How did you get it from Procure SU, from Procure SU to Amazon shopping cart? Is there like link or what?
I clicked on, it's loading, hold on. So when I followed that link, on the quick links, I just opened this. It says Amazon Business.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so let's move on to, there we go. Let's move on to the next part of how to spend money, and we can pause again and you can still ask some of these other questions. In order, this is sort of in order of preference. So the first slide are kind of like, these are recommended ways of doing it, follow probably normal business practices. And then these other 2 are sort of other options when, as Josh noted, like sometimes you really want to order from someone and they don't do invoices. So the next best option is I should say many, not most, faculty and staff members have what we call a pro card. It's a credit card that the university pays the bill, and it's attached to the activity strings that we have responsibility for. If you have an advisor that has a pro card, that is a great resource because they may be comfortable and willing to pay for things on their card, and then you just do a code it to your activity string, and that is done through Chrome River, the other system that I noted on that quick links page. And you would, the staff person or your advisor would need to have your activity string to code that in. The other option, which is also handled through Chrome River, is a reimbursement. Now, it's not that we don't think it's not that we don't want you to get the things you want, but a reimbursement is the last result, because we just don't think it's fair that if there are other avenues that you are paying for things, because it can take a while to get reimbursed, and who wants to be out that money? And I know ultimately, if you decide that's the best route for you, that's totally fine. So you can purchase something and then be reimbursed through Chrome River. You go in, you sign in, you fill out, here's the receipt, I paid for this out of this activity string, and you'll get reimbursed, assuming that there's enough money in your activity string. So if you buy something and it's $1,000, and what you have in your activity string for your club is $27, you're suddenly out some money that you didn't expect to be out. So that's part of why if you can avoid it, I suggest you don't do that, but it's not like you can't do that. So any questions about that? Okay, last slide. Oh, how to spend money in ProcureSU. I've talked about this. This is how to find it, know your activity string, and you shop. Really the last slide. So this is what I call making good decisions. Here are some things I really want to encourage you to do. One, make a budget, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, whether it's even a Word document, and track your expenses. So if you know you've got $500 in your budget for the year, that's what you've got. As you're spending money, track those so that you know without anybody else having to tell you how much is left. Make sure that you are only spending the money that you have. Also make sure that folks in your organization, in your group, know who's allowed to spend money, what on, how much, all of that. Good communication will save you so much pain if everybody thinks, oh, we have $300, I'm going to go buy this for the club, but 5 different people go buy $300 worth of stuff. Then you have an issue when everybody kind of figures it out. And then the last thing is just to expect surprises, especially around events, I think, or big projects, knowing that something is not going to go the way that you expect it to. And so just leaving a little bit of buffer room is always wise. Recording now.
Yeah.